voiceless. People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss. This something that we find important. Rap game strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will lead up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People trying to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who would never.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. It's Friday, the 14th, 2023, July 14th. The summer is flying by, but what is going on? Shout out to everybody in chat, the Rep Game family, and everybody that's coming by, the voice for the voiceless. You already know. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get the calls ready. Make sure you're ready to call in, because we're gonna have open discussion today. What's on your mind? What's bothering you the most about the Idaho 4 case in general? What's bothering you the most on YouTube? But we first need to get to some news coming from YouTube, from a fellow YouTuber that I used to be a member of. Now, I have now unsubscribed from that person, but the fact that I was a member of this channel back when I first started true crime on the Kylie Rodney case, to fathom that she would put out an 11-year-old's autopsy photos under a paywall, but it's not even just under a paywall. Like, she could have even done it, she could have done it for free. And Scout Sally says all autopsy photos to children should be redacted automatically from the files before release, as standard practice, in my opinion. And I agree with you 100%. But to think that somebody would release autopsy photos of a 11-year-old boy who was murdered by his stepmom, but it just doesn't even matter who he was murdered by, just to release the autopsy photos in general and sell them on Patreon or sell them in any type of way is absolutely disgusting. And you definitely need to do some soul searching. I just don't think that that's a big mistake, man. You can never make that type of mistake, and to even think that somebody would do that makes me sick. Now, what can Gannon's family do about this? What can Gannon's family do about this? Right? What's going on, Big Dirty? Shout out to everybody that's in here. Nancy D, I see you. Big Dirty's in the building. Cali Thunder, love you. I appreciate you. Brenda says, that's so wrong. It makes me sick to my stomach. I agree, Brenda. Allegedly, LB in the building. Shout out to you. Make sure you guys hit the like button as you're coming in. And as we start everything up, before I open the phone lines up, I want to watch, a couple short videos just to, fill people in if you haven't seen it. But I do think it's disgusting. Cassie says Zav didn't do it to be nasty or heartless. See, that's the thing, though. Nasty, heartless. I mean, something like that is heartless, though. Something like that is heartless. You don't put out autopsies to a little kid and sell them to your Patreon. Like, do you not? That is disgusting. There's no excuse for that. I mean, what excuse is there to be made about that? Really? I mean, there's none. And my heart goes out to Gannon's family. Like, I didn't follow that case super close, and I'm not going to act like I did. Now, I seen the verdict, and I heard about it, and I looked at some details after the fact that some people in the Rev Gang family told me about this case in particular. I'm not going to sit here and act like I followed that case from start to finish, because I didn't. But what I will tell you is I did look up what happened to him, and to release that kid's autopsy photos, you got to be a sick person for that, and you need help. That's unexcusable. That's an 11-year-old child. And to put that out, his family's got to relive that. They already went through that in court. They dealt with that there. You know what I mean? Thank you, Boss Brooklyn. I appreciate you, girl. Shout out to her. Says T-REV and the Rev family holding it down. Thank you. I appreciate you. And shout out to everybody here today. Just make sure you hit that like button. It's free 99. $3.99. Thank you. Gypsy, what's going on? Let's roll, Rev Gang. I appreciate you coming by. Hollis, all the familiar faces that I'm seeing. Hannah, Michelle Mouse. Well, Zav was charged for the docs And I think she was trying to get compensated. Thoughts? I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language. I don't care. I don't care if you were charged for the docs. You were charged for the docs. So you wanted to make your money back on the child, on his pictures of his autopsy? Sorry. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. And you know what I mean? There's no excuse for that. Come on now. To make your money back on the autopsy of an 11-year-old. So do we agree with that in chat? I mean, I may respectfully disagree with people, but making your money back, is it really that much money that you need to profit off of the autopsy photos? Wow, who the hell is doing that? You didn't know that? You didn't know about that? That's wild. And we're going to get into it right now. And the father speaks out.
It is re-traumatizing. It's hard to, we just finished the trial just over 2 months ago, Brian, and now we're having to kind of relive some of this stuff and not being able to put it behind us.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, what really pushed it over the edge was the charging the money. I mean, obviously posting it alone would be disgusting, but then charging money to see those photos, it's really, really just awful.
The word I use to describe it is evil, Brian. In my opinion, it's just evil. Like the world got enough information from the trial to have every discussion they want to have. Why do we need to go have freedom of information request and pay for this kind of information and then dishonor my son by putting these photos out there like that? I mean, the world got to see it. I don't know how well you followed it, but the only day I chose not to come to the trial was the day that they showed the autopsy photos. Now I feel like I can't even go on YouTube without the possibility of accidentally coming across these photos.
Yeah, and I when we talked to the
before Brian Enton and his father proceed, I do want to say I seen Grizzly post on Twitter, and she posted that somebody emailed her. And if I see that person in my chat, I want y'all to smoke them. And I'm going to pull it up right now because it was actually pretty nasty now that I think about it. And I seen it on Twitter yesterday. Somebody emailed her and was like, look at the picture. Or I forget what it was, but hold on, let me pull it up. Because it said, I'm going to read it to you guys right now. And the fact, and by the way, breaking news, allegedly they made an arrest on the Long Island serial killer that killed the girls on Gilgo Beach or whatever. And I followed that case for a while, which is something that we'll talk about, probably this weekend when I go live at some point. That's very interesting also. The Gilgo Beach victims, there was an arrest made on that case. But hold on, let me find it. Maybe she took it down. Somebody emailed her, though, and was like, in a smart ass way. So stars aligned. I swear I seen them in chat somewhere. Stars aligned said, check this out. Gannon super graphic. And then put, this is very graphic yet super interesting. And drops the Dropbox of Gannon's autopsy. Like, what are we doing out here? It is so disrespectful to the memory of Gannon. Very sad, poor parents. Lisa says, Elena, thank you. Okay. Big Dirty says, then why would you do that? Please, I'd love to hear. There's nothing that justifies this. Sorry. Sunshine says, she's a sick-ass person. No excuses. Love Over Hate says, why put that out? There is no reason. Dippity Doo says, Natasha Cooper did the same thing and is still on her Patreon. How was her Patreon? Okay. How was her Patreon up, but Zav Girls has got taken down, I'm pretty sure. Correct? How was that still up, but hers got yanked? Can we talk about that? So you're telling me that Natasha Cooper has his autopsy photos up there, but Zav Girls' Patreon got yanked? That's wild. Jessica Dean says there is no excuse. So disgusting. I can't fathom that someone would think that is okay to do. T-REV is right. It's pure sick. I think it's pure evil, straight up. Now, I could get we all got a Freedom of Information Act, but to think that we would go out and post autopsy photos and shit like that. I mean, for instance, I don't even want to talk. That's disgusting. She read an apology but made excuses. I seen the video. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna act like I ain't seen the video. I seen the video. I seen the excuse. I don't agree with it.
Prosecutor last night, I mean, they made a special effort to make sure that those photos were not released on the live
That's
stream.
right.
In other trials that I've covered, they always do that. I mean, they just want the jurors to see them because that's part of obviously the legal process, but it's not the kind of thing that the public needs to see at all. Do you think you may take legal action? Is there anything that you can do to get these off the internet to sort of like protect your son?
We've talked through some of those options. The hard part, Brian, is I am just emotionally and psychologically and financially maxed out from the last 3+ years of this process. To take legal action, I just don't know if I have that in me. But what I'm trying to do with you tonight, and I appreciate you having us on, is to help shape the narrative. And I don't really think I have to do much. Based on the messages you've received and the feedback I've seen from other responses, I don't think it's going to take much from us to have these people, repointed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think people just lose sight of the fact that these are real families dealing with this. I mean, there's a true crime community, and 99% of them have good intentions and are really focused on the victims. I'm sure you felt that through all of this, but there's just those bad apples out there that are trying to make money. The other thing I keep thinking about is the fact that she and others were even able to get the photos. It seems like there should be some kind of law, or it shouldn't be that easy to just write a check and put in a request and be able to get those photos sent to you.
Too very invested. Me too. Thank you.
Yeah, once again, I think that's a question for a legal representative. I do believe in the freedom of information to a certain extent, but I think the problem from my perspective is you can't always control what someone with evil intentions will do. And that's what we have in this case here. So I don't know. I'm not a legal guy. I'd have to look at the ins and outs of the FOIA Act and all that. But,
Yeah.
There is a lot of good that comes out of release of information. It's just in this instance, and having to bear this burden myself, it's hard to say this, but in this instance, someone has taken that and turned it into evil.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Well, Al, thank you for coming on. Again, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. I totally understand you being emotionally exhausted, and this now just adding on to that. I hope that people will continue to be out.
Yeah, but in real time, truth be told, in real time, she went from like 93,000 subscribers down to 87K. So there is some good-hearted people out there. And it didn't just generate likes and clicks. It did the opposite. I think that no matter what, somebody in that chat, say she does pursue to continue with true crime, somebody in that chat is always going to bring that up. And actually, I think more than that. Multiple people are always going to bring that up. There's always going to be a problem there, right? And the line's open if anybody wants to call in, 219-885-9693. We got multiple things I want to get into on today's stream, but open discussion, Idaho 4, and talks of this. Is this okay? So if I went and did this right now, if I put up autopsy photos of a child, not even just Gannon, and started selling them, would you guys be here anymore? Because I don't think you would. And I would never even think about doing something like that. That's the ultimate low. We want to find out what leads people to take their child's lives, to kill people in general. This is not the definition of the type of shit that I want to do. I promise you. 314, you're in the door. What's going on? You live.
Hi, Key. It's Midwest.
Hey, Midwest. What's going on?
I'm calling in. I have a very, very big opinion about this. Yes. It's a shame what she's done. It actually there needs to be a law, Gannon's Law, if you ask me. There is no reason these autopsy photos of him need to be on her channel or anybody else's channel. For what reason?
Right.
There's no excuse. Now I could say maybe for like a school study or colleges or something like that, maybe, I don't know what, but for something like this, there's no excuse. It's evil, if you ask me. The poor family has been through enough. Why does somebody have to do this? I am so sorry, but it just really aggravates me to the core. So that's my opinion, and I'm just calling in because I just have to get it off my chest, because I think her page needs to be taken down. And if somebody doesn't agree with me, I'm sorry about that. But
I
since
think
there's no law,
that his father should, if he ever needed help, I would help. Shit, I'd be open to helping him raise money to take down these people that did that shit to him. That's BS. And to he sit here and just hear him say, I just went through all this for 3 years, and then it kind of opens up a wound. Now you got all she had like 90-something thousand subscribers, so to be selling autopsies behind a paywall, that's just the ultimate disrespect to a family.
right? And it's sickening, if you ask me.
Yeah, let's be honest. You're already getting money from content, so what is the point to put money to sell autopsy photos of a little boy?
And what's the reason to pay to go see them? For what reason? The boy is gone. He's dead.
There is no reason.
He was murdered. I don't understand people. I pray for this family.
Shame on that courthouse too.
Again.
We also got to point accountability to that courthouse too for even releasing that too. They need to be held accountable also.
That's right. That's why I'm hoping that, I don't know what to do, but I'm hoping that someday Gannon's Law will be passed, and this can be stopped from autopsies, being sold like that, or being right to get available anyway, if that makes sense, are very, good reason to get them. Or if people that do this get punished for doing it. But I do hopefully believe one day that a law is passed and this just doesn't happen again, because it's just not right. There's no reason for it.
There really isn't. There's no reason for that. I'm going to post up autopsy. And I just couldn't fathom that. I couldn't fathom putting a file online with this kid's autopsy, with autopsy photos in them. Not even a kid, let alone an adult. Not anyone. Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know who'd want to see them. And if it was my child, oh my God. That poor father's been through enough. I don't know what I would do. But I'll be raising some, what? I'll tell you that much. And I'm not part of her show. I've never really heard too much about her, but you asked me, and I love you, T, and I love that family and stuff. But if you've done it, you're right. You would have lost me. I would have been gone.
I'm sick to my stomach over it, because, you don't need to do that to, there's so much to cover with that case and what happened. To put that out, it just doesn't even make sense. And it shows, because like I said, she was at like 90-something thousand, and now it's down to like 87,000 in real time, moving backwards.
Right.
Close her down.
Right.
And I don't, what it is, you should never put somebody's autopsy photos out there. I don't care who you are.
Right. And it's just emotional for me. It just makes no sense to me. But because I watched, that trial, and that poor family's been through enough, and that boy was been through enough, and it's sickening. I'm sorry, but I took up enough of your time. But I just wanted to call in prayers for that family. I know she can't be, there's no law, the law, but maybe suspend her page for a while or something. But hopefully this gets through to her, that she does not do anything like this again. because it's just unconscionable to me.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Midwest. I agree 100%. Let's do some do some soul search. She said it. I'm doing some soul searching. You need to do some soul searching and some. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, that's just.
I mean, I hate to judge, but that's just my feelings towards it.
But they also need to hold accountable that courthouse that sent out those autopsy photos. I don't even understand how that even happened in the first place. But I mean, you should be responsible enough to, when you see that, I would contact the courthouse or you sent me autopsy photos. You know what I mean? Like, let them know. I just don't. That's another thing. Like, that's not for that. I feel like that's not for us. Like, the autopsies are not. I don't need to look at the autopsy. That's just gonna make me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no law, so that's why they did it. But they need to make a law, some kind of law.
And I think they will. I would never support.
I hope so.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Midwest. God bless you, and hopefully I hear from you again. Lock your doors, stay safe, and I appreciate you calling up with
God bless you and love you and the family.
you too, Midwest girl. God bless you. Big sis.
Bye.
Later. Shout out to her. 219-885-9693.
Those divers and they can sort of police themselves in a way on YouTube, because it's just, it's just awful, especially when
J Lo, we don't care about that. They can talk all they want, That's not what we're here to do. 541 937. What's going on? You're live.
Hey, Trev, it's the other Aaron.
Hey, Aaron, what's going on?
I just wanted to say, way back in the 80s, before you were a glimmer in your daddy's eye, I worked at Photomat, and it was huge. We developed massive amount of photos. I was in an area where I developed police photos.
Right.
Crime scenes, autopsies. I've seen all kinds of things that people shouldn't see. Yes. Thank God some of them were in black and white, thank God. And, some were autopsies were in color. Crime scenes were in color. Now, suicides weren't in color, thank God. But I never wanted to make money off of it. I never ran around to show anybody. But they got to get rid of this girl. In fact, I want to redo my vote on here. I have glaucoma, so it's hard for me to read, and I think I clicked the wrong one. But yeah, I don't get why she did that.
Now people are saying in chat that this Natasha Cooper chick has his photos up there, also.
Why?
Or Natasha, what's going on with that?
If you're that interested, just read it. You don't need to see it. You already heard what horrific things happened to that sweet little boy. Oh my God, goosebumps. Goosebumps. I can feel him.
I mean, and I too, people in the Discord, Rev Game family in the Discord were watching the court, and I tuned in a couple times, and I heard her crying on the phone, talking to the dad and all this other stuff, and just to see what he had to go through in trial with this woman that did what she did to Gannon.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like I said, to relive what happened after that, just putting these photos out is just, like I said, that's traumatizing.
Very traumatizing. And yeah, the family will get their due, I'm sure. But this whole process of everything, and this thing I'm reading online that possibly BK is going to be released, I'm like, that's not going to fucking happen.
Right.
Do these people not believe in science?
Yeah, BK.
No.
He's not. He's not even going to be released. No.
There's a lot of people that don't believe in science, though. There's a lot of people that don't believe it's him.
And those are the same people that say that.
And they have the right for that, I know.
And those are the same people that think that, phone pings don't matter either. And I feel like, and because if you look how many cases, like just the past couple days, I was looking at cases that phone pings were involved in, and there's a lot of cases that phone pings are locking people up for murder for.
Yeah. Yeah, and
along with other evidence also. I'm not just saying phone pings, but phone pings played a part in it.
yeah, I don't think people realize how in depth this technology is we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit said, somebody goes down to the Titanic in a rickety machine and they don't make it. So I don't know. I can't wait. Are they wanting to push the trial back now?
I mean, I think they're going to kick the can on the BK trial. Absolutely.
Think they're going to push it back?
Yeah, I think they're going to put. I don't think it's going down in October.
You know what I think he wants to do? I think he wants to start it on the exact day that things went down.
And when I talked
on the anniversary,
and I asked, I even asked Jennifer. I was like, "You think the trial is going to go down?" No, not on October. No.
No, I'm saying I think BK's hoping it goes down in November on his special day. In his mind, that's what I'm thinking. But
no,
I don't want to get too deep in that mind. Ugh.
So you're thinking that he's intentionally trying to get it to November?
I think so. As soon as I heard it, I thought, I bet you he's wanting another month and a couple days.
I don't.
That's diving deep. Shit, I know that. Oh well, I know my time's up. Love talking to you.
Love talking to you too.
Keep doing the great job, and people do see autopsy photos. I don't know how they get it.
They're online forever.
I processed for police. I know mine went directly to the police with the negatives.
Well, I'll tell you this: they're online forever now.
That's horrible.
It's disgusting.
Did you? And are they still charging people?
I know that somebody said in chat. I haven't confirmed it yet, but somebody has said in chat that Natasha Cooper is still doing it. So I don't know what's going on with that, but
come on, people.
Yeah, that's what somebody said in chat. I haven't seen it yet, but I mean,
I really enjoyed the spirit box last night. I could tell it drained you. You got to take care of you, T. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I love you. We'll talk soon.
Love you back, Aaron.
Bye-bye.
Other Aaron. I appreciate you. See ya. Don't let the door hit you. This is a shit stream tonight, Trev. And what are you here for? Unsubscribing. Kick rocks. Bye-bye. I don't know who you're talking to. See you later, alligator. 337, what's going on? You're live.
Hey, what's up, T-REV? It's Delana. Hey, Rep Gang.
What's up, Delana?
I just wanted to say I'm just really disgusted that happened on a social media platform and people paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know when I requested records for my son, who was an adult, but the autopsy report and stuff, I got the whole autopsy report, but I never got photos. I just can't imagine someone not even related to Gannon being able to have access to a minor's photos. It's just horrific. And then to let people view them on a social platform. I really do hope that they implement something, Gannon's law or whatever, so that can never happen again. I actually don't know how it happened. I mean, I've never heard of that happening before. Has it happened before? Do you know?
I have no idea. I first heard about it with Brian Ensign putting it on when he talked about it. when he posted. I seen it first there, and then I seen a lot of you guys talking about it, but I just thought it was wild. It blew my mind because not only it'd be different. See, the thing is I used to be a member of her channel a while back. So to to be honest with you, it kind of blew me away to see her doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't.
Especially when I was a paid member on her channel and supported everything she did. But I'm just blown away by that. And people are like, you guys should stop talking about Zab Girl. It is putting you each in the same spot. Oh, well, kick rock. See you later. Bye-bye. Not offended whatsoever. See you later.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Right.
Nice meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would never want to have anything to do with that person again, for sure. I mean, but I haven't for a long time. But I just can't understand with like the HIPAA, medical information is so protected, but how was this child not protected?
You could tell that the person that said that is like a hardcore Zab Girl lover or some shit. Like, what do you mean? Like, that dude is going through a lot of stuff. He can't do nothing about it. He doesn't have the money to pay to sue if he wanted to. Like, I mean, you're talking about a grieving father. Like, what do you mean?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, we watched the trial together, like you said, in Discord, and just listening to all the audio, and which was forever with, I won't even say her name. She doesn't deserve to be named. She's a piece of crap. But that's a stepmom. That wasn't even his parents, his biological parents. And they sat there through that whole trial. Mm-hmm. We didn't get to see the photo autopsies during the court trial. They didn't show that during the court trial. Mm-hmm. So how did someone publicly just have access to that? There's something flawed somewhere. That's why I asked if you'd ever heard of that happening before. I've never heard of that happening before with a minor child. Right. I don't know if it has, but how did it slip through the system? But my heart goes out to those parents. To God, they just finished the trial. Let them frickin' heal, and now they got to deal with this again.
Lupo Nino, you're right too. It's wild. Wow.
Yeah. I'm beyond disgusted. Anyway, that's all I have. There's got to be something better to protect these children. That should have never happened. Never.
Whoever is defending that stands behind it. I'm sorry. I that's wild to me.
Yeah. Well, I did see on the news clip or something earlier that they were something about legislation and the federal government having to do with this particular situation that occurred. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the ball's rolling in that direction,
And
but it doesn't.
I know that actually, I think they got him from Colorado, but I seen people talking about Florida.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There
was so much going on today with the Long Island guy, this and whatever. So there's a lot of information to catch up on. Anyway, hopefully, the lawmakers will do something so this won't ever happen to a child again. And my heart goes out to Gannon's family. And that's all I got. Love you, Rap Gang.
Well, appreciate you, Delana. I appreciate you calling in. I just wanted to cover this at the beginning just because I thought it made me sick to my stomach just to think about that, like the autopsy photos being pushed out to people, and a lot, now it's forever on the internet. But like I said, it's the courthouse's fault too for even that, or law in general, whatever they got going on, they need to fix that.
Definitely, 100%.
I appreciate
that should never happen again. Thank you.
God bless you. Love you. Lock your doors. Stay safe. Happy Friday.
All right, Friday.
Bye-bye. Shout out to Delana, 219-885-9690.
When you think about family members like you, Al. So thank you for coming on tonight. I hope people who posted the photos are watching it and hear it straight from you how it makes you feel.
Exactly. 423, what's going on?
Yeah, this is Tennessee calling.
What's going on, brother?
Man, this world and these people have all lost all respect for everybody. I mean, government, law enforcement, nobody has any respect. Humanity or anything. They need to quit doing this stuff. Back in my day, you didn't see this on TV. You didn't hear this. Private stuff was private. And it shouldn't be able to get out. People who let this stuff out need to be put in jail.
Agreed.
I mean, dang, I'm 57-year-old. I never have heard stuff like this come out in this world today. On the news, and I mean $3. What's $3, man?
Right.
Yeah, that's silly. That's silly. They should be. Every one of them that bought that should be put in jail, and see how they like it. But if humanity don't take over and people don't start loving and taking care of each other, you shouldn't sit sometime and see somebody sitting out there starving to death. I don't mind. I buy a man a meal if I got the money, but I will not buy him no beer or cigarettes. I give a helping hand to when I can. But people nowadays, they want to take from everybody. And it's coming down to it that you're going to have to survive, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be no food, and there's going to be no water, and people are going to have to defend for themselves, and it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. It's like the world is just turning around and going backwards instead of us going forward.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point that you made. Like, news channels aren't putting that out. And what are we doing on people who run true crime channels like myself? I get to talk to not only the people who care the most, but I mean, like, if you look at it, it's like, if you look on certain news channels, are they sitting there posting autopsies up, for the world to see? And I'm not saying that we're mainstream media, but in general, we got, you got to hold yourself to a certain standard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we posting autopsy photos of a young boy up on TV? Because this is available for anybody to come click on.
Right. But I mean, it's just like if something happens, if something happened to Trump, every one of them on the news channel runs to Trump. If something happened to this one, every one of them don't want to run it. They pick and choose what they want you to hear. Mm-hmm. It's just like you're living over there in China, and they let you watch what you want to hear. Now, people like you and these other broadcasters can put it out like it's supposed to be. Let everybody know what's going on and the right way it's going on instead of the way they want you to know it's going on. That's all they always do. They want you to know what they want you to know. If we had no communications, nobody would know nothing's going on. And I mean, just like they got war over there in Russia. How do me and you know personally that they're having a war over there? All we see is pictures and videos. If I was over there and I seen a war going on, I would believe it. But I believe what I see, not what people tell me that's going on. And I don't believe that Russia's bad. I don't believe the Chinese bad. I honestly believe we're bullying all the other countries.
Yeah.
But everybody's not bad. If everybody's bad, then why is everybody coming over here? All countries are not,
and that's a good point. I love that point. Good point.
All countries are not bad.
Right.
But they make countries out to be bad.
Thank you, Sunshine.
But that's all I wanted to say. And I just believe that people need to love one another and take care of one another and quit arguing and fighting. It's got to stop someday. But there will be a man one day that will stop all arguing and fighting. And then the world will go on as like it should. But thank you for your time. And I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Thank you for the great words.
Have a good day.
You lock your door,
Bye.
sir. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Shout out to him. 219-885-9693. You got the older wisdom coming through from the people out here. That's a lot of people. Okay. What's going on? 2423s back to back. What's going on? How you doing today?
Not bad. How are you doing today, T-REV?
You know, just hanging in there. Figured I'd come live with you guys today and talk. And so, what's on your mind? Talk to me.
Well, I just wanted to say that, from what I understand, the autopsy photos was gross incompetence on the behalf of the department that handles the records in Colorado for I can't remember the county, but the autopsy photos almost never go with the when you purchase with the Freedom of Information Act. They almost never go. The autopsy photos are only for the jury, law enforcement, and of course, attorneys. But yeah, it was gross incompetence on behalf of the records department.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would love to start some sort of fund to help the Stout family to be able to sue them, because there's absolutely no reason for autopsy photos to go with that. That's not part of the Freedom of Information.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And both, there's both need to be accounted for, not just one, because it was sent.
Right. I don't know anything about the person that put them online. It was probably like she thought she hit the lottery, when she got those photos.
I wanted your channel, it actually, she inspired me a long time ago. And when I first started covering true crime on YouTube specifically, she used to be one of my go-to channels. And then I just never, I never could see her doing that. And then when I seen that, like I said, it just kind of blew me back a little bit.
Is there any action being taken towards her at all?
I don't think so. No, I've watched most of these videos with Brian Enton and people talking about it, but no, she removed it and she actually put up an apology video.
Well, that's good. That's a start, but the family, of course, their ability to recover and try to deal with this horrific incident, it just makes it that much harder for them to move on. Mm-hmm. So I do believe that somebody needs to be accountable. And
right.
At the times of it, maybe more than one somebody, but definitely starts with the Department of Records for the law enforcement.
Man, a good point. I thought she did lose her Patreon, but Natasha Cooper has hers up and they're still selling, allegedly.
Wow.
That's what was said in chat multiple times today. So, it, like I said, it comes back to the county selling it and all, or not selling, or putting it in the Freedom of Information Act and having it put into the files that are being requested. That's something that needs to be shut down. Autopsy photos shouldn't be included, in my opinion, whatsoever. In case you're an officer or somebody working the case. You know what I mean?
Right. They should almost be stored separately in a separate file that, instead of just pushing a button and sending off everything that's contained within the file, there has to maybe be some sort of special authorization code or something that prevents this type of situation from happening.
What do you think that they could do to prevent it? I think it's simple. Don't add autopsy photos to the files being sent out for the Freedom of Information Act. That's what I think.
Well, that's one of the things why I said that they almost need to be under a separate authorization not for necessarily the freedom of information, but like for court purposes and things like that. I feel like the only thing that should be able to be, you know, if you have an idiot filling in one day and they just push the button, and that's probably, you know, some semblance of the situation that happened here with somebody that didn't know what they were doing. Instead of, you know, deselecting or not selecting the autopsy photos, they just, you know, sent all. I mean, I would think, but, you know, if they're in some other way that there has to be maybe supervisor authorization or something that protects that type of material. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense.
It's really sad.
It's also like, I just don't think we should be able to have access to that. And if we did, right? Say we do, there should be a law. If this is shared within out, you know what I mean? Then you're subject to penalty, being sued.
I agree 100%. You know, because nothing's perfect. You know, it'd be great if it was, but.
Well, I've also seen other people say and I didn't mean to cut you, but I'm saying in general, I've seen people post on Twitter that they got the same documents and had the same autopsy photos in them. And I seen that on Twitter. Yes. Last night, I was surprised to see that, but those people didn't share that. They didn't share it online. So it just happened to be one out of a few that did share it.
Oh, that's just crazy.
So I got to report that also. I got to let that be known that when I was looking around on the internet last night, I seen that some other people that requested those files got the autopsy photos also, but they didn't share them.
Right. Well, clearly some people still have common sense and decency, but I wasn't aware that was happening. I thought it was an isolated incident. Like I said, you know, most jurisdictions only provide information that could go towards trial, everything but autopsy photos.
Right.
Like those are absolutely a no-no. You know, it's definitely not included in the Freedom of Information Act.
That's crazy. Well, I appreciate you calling in and giving your opinion. There definitely needs to be something done about people having access to certain things, or like in writing, or there's a law that if you do share it, you're subject to penalty. But then again, everybody will have it anyway, so it'll be out there forever. There's got to be something. There's got to be something to put a stop to this. It's nasty.
I agree 100%. And I just wanted to say that I'm new to your show. I love it. And I'm checking you out every day. So I don't know if you have. I haven't like seen you enough yet to find out if you have like a subscribe channel other than, you know, the YouTube subscribe. But I just want to tell you do a great job.
Thank you. I just have YouTube and all the other social media platforms as far as like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But other than that, just YouTube. Okay.
Well, I'm going to continue watching because I think you do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I really appreciate you calling in and giving your opinion and being a voice in the community. God bless you. Happy Friday. Lock your doors and stay safe. And thank you for calling in.
You as well. God bless the entire crew that's watching.
Thank you.
And the family.
Absolutely. Well. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I hope so too, Brian. In closing, I do want to leave you with, I think we're really getting focused on less than 1% of the people, because the majority of people I've come in contact with throughout this past 3+ years have been absolutely sustained me and helped me to fight through this process.
541, what's going on? You're live.
Hi, T-REV. This is Boho Dreamin'. How are you?
What's going on, Boho? I see you in chat.
Oh, do you see me in chat?
Yeah, I see you in chat.
Okay, cool. But anyway, this whole thing, I wanted to mention a couple things. she is already. I mean, am I able to say what I had read in one of her posts, or is that not? Is it hearsay type thing, or?
Say again. I'm sorry, you didn't.
Oh, sorry. She had made some posts that she's already, like, on her community page that she deleted. Am I able to mention what was said on there?
Yeah, go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, okay. So the one thing that bothered me, you know, she was posting about how, you know, she did it, whatever. And there was a lady that said, how would you feel if this was your child? Would you allow that? And she said she most certainly would. Now, she's not a mother. She's not a, you know, doesn't have any kids. So that in itself just made me sick, you know. And at the same time, she was sitting there saying how it was scientific. She did it for scientific reasons. Okay, that bothered me too, because there's plenty of places you can go to a college and something if for scientific reasons. That was just one of her doubling down excuses, in my opinion.
Wow.
I mean, who in their right mind would do something like that? My kids are grown and I have grandbabies. I couldn't even imagine that. And especially the thing that angers me the most is her charging money for that. That is nothing but pure blood money. And it makes me sick.
And to people, and I know, you know, people are like, oh, stop, or people shouldn't be covering that, this, that, and the third. But then you got people on, you got these channel or, you know, news channels and reporters that always want to throw YouTubers in the mud. But there is genuine YouTubers out there that don't do shit like this. I'm sorry.
Right.
And that's the reason, one, what hit with me is I used to be a paying member of her channel for like 6 months. So to think that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just seen people throwing YouTubers names in the mud and stomping on them. So it's like, you know, we don't accept this.
Right. It blows me away, because I know there are YouTubers that do, you know, some crazy stuff for money that I disagree with. You know, they're all over the place. But this one, it's at the top. It's just, I'm still baffled. I'm blown away. So I know I probably sound like a broken record, because that's all I can say is it's sick and it's disgusting. But the rage that people feel with this, there's got to be some kind of law, at least, to say, don't charge for it if you're going to do that. Make your own scientific channel, like somewhere else on the web or something. You know, I'm not trying to justify what she did. I'm just making things run through my mind to say what else she could have done. It blows me away. It really blows me away. And I guess one more thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry, I get on here all the time and I blah, blah, blah. But 25 years ago, I wanted to be an EMT. And I started being introduced to everything and what we needed to do. Now, I wasn't I hadn't started the schooling or the training or anything, but they had always mentioned to you the things that you're going to see. Now, I know I might have been able to handle, because you're not going to save everybody and it's not always going to be a pleasant scene. The one thing that made me turn away and say, no, I can't do this, is the fact that children are involved in those things too. And there's things that you wouldn't want to see.
Right.
So that's one thing, I'm just one person. Someone else might be able to handle that, but me, I can't. And this just blows me away. How, I don't know. I'm shaking right now talking about it. It just makes me sick. So anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. I just had to blurt it out because everything that what I just said, I can't type fast enough.
No, that's okay. And
so,
like I said, the thing is though, the state's got to be held accountable too for even putting that in there. In my opinion, they got to be. So I'm sure they're going to come up with something from this situation. It's been it's been actually viral. And like I said, I think she was at like 92,000 subscribers. It went down to like 87,000. So it's,
yeah, I saw that last night.
People are definitely speaking. It's all over Twitter. It was trending when I looked at it. So,
Yeah.
you know, and like I said, I see people dragging, like Brian Enton was mentioning, YouTubers. There's a lot of bad YouTubers and this, that, and the third. Well, not doing that, not putting this out, not putting out autopsy photos of a small child. Hell no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell no.
Some people don't, you know, and some people saying she, you know, there was no harmful intent and wasn't trying to be mean. And I said, maybe she wasn't, but there was no heart. It was, she's a stale person. There's no empathy, and empathy is a big word that a lot of people don't understand. And she has zero after doing this. So anyway, I'm getting mad, so I should get off here. But anyway, I love your show. This is the best channel on YouTube, and I will tell you that, and I'm being honest about that. And everyone here, I just love everyone. They're just informative and fair and funny too. So anyway, that's it. I'll shut up now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you calling in and having a voice in the community. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. And I always do see you in chat. Boho Dreaming, right?
Oh, yep, that's me.
Yep, I always see you. So thank you for calling in and being a voice in the community. And also, like I said, not just commenting in chat, but calling up and speaking your opinion. I know that's a lot to type out, but
okay, well, thank you so much. You guys have a good day and stay safe and lock your doors.
Yes, lock your doors, your windows. Make sure you're vigilant. Watch your surroundings, because you never know.
Yep. Okay, hon. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. 219-885-9693. But 1 second. So, I do want to talk about, all right, now that I feel like we covered that, right? The moral, I call bullshit, that giggle. The fact is, you can't read someone's heart unless you are God. Thanks, Boho. But we're done with that segment. I just wanted to bring a little bit of attention to it, speak about it, and just because, like I said, it's a lot of, I don't know, it's just messed up. She honestly did not care at all how much she would hurt Gannon's family by posting those pictures. She didn't care that she was re-victimizing Gannon and his family either by doing that. Heartless. Absolutely. It's, I don't know. I just figured we definitely need to speak about that. Like I said, I was a subscriber to her channel and a member. So I ended that a while ago. I was there for 6 months and then I had stopped. I forget if she just stopped or whatever, like covering for a while, like cases. But for some reason, I run my own channel, but in general, it's a cruel world, and both need to be held accountable. The state that sent it out and the YouTuber. So it's like a 50-50 thing. I mean, you would think that you would be responsible enough to not put that out on the internet. And then you would think that the courthouse would be responsible enough not to put that in there. So, yeah. Let's see. Off topic, the Long Island serial killer. Come on, we used to cover that shit. I remember the police chief was a suspect for a long time. That's a whole nother video and a whole nother live, to be honest with you. Remember the what was it? The police chief in Long Island was the suspect the whole entire time. You remember that, right? River says, glad you're covering this. Thank you, Rev. No problem. I thought we would speak on it at the beginning because it was just rough. It was rough. Yes, I seen that too, Hollis. I actually thought that in my head too. How we think alike. Get the fuck out of here! But yeah, so allegedly they made arrest in the Long Island, with the Long Island serial killer. We could definitely check that out too, because I've been invested in that case also. Like for the years, followed it. Gilgo Beach, bodies being found in like the high seaweed grass, like it was crazy on the side of the road. There was drug houses. They're saying women prostitutes. I mean, that's the word, right? I live in Suffolk County, Long Island. Well, I used to live in Babylon. I remember staying in Babylon. You know where Babylon is? Travel right over, go to Gilgo Beach. Been there. They arrested somebody today. I seen it. I didn't get to check deeply into it, though. You know what I mean? I didn't get to check deeply into it. Wasn't a dentist a suspect, too? There was a lot of suspects. Wow, I'd love to see the presser. You said pressers at 3? Shit, that's a whole different live. I'm about to rename this live. Long Island presser, 4 p.m. Hold on, 4 p.m. Eastern or Central? What are we talking? 4 p.m. Eastern or Central? I wouldn't want to live in Babylon. Ain't no doubt. I was so invested in that case. There is a press conference 4 p.m. Eastern. So we're talking about that's about to be in 20 minutes. That's about to be in 20 minutes. We could check it out. Yo, we could check it out.
You're the perfect person to ask. I don't understand why both sides, prosecution and defense in this case, have both decided there's no reason to keep a potential jury visit in play. What does that tell you?
Well, it's good to be with you, Ashley. Keep in mind that jury visits are rare. And so in this case, like most others, the parties just believe that there is not much evidentiary value left. And I respect your previous guest, but there has been extensive photographs and videos taken by law enforcement. And so jurors could get a sense of the scene of the crime through the traditional means, through video.
If you find a link, and by the way, they are keeping the house intact till October. I know we went over that before, but let me see. They trace calls to burner phones he bought. If anybody has a link to the presser, because I'm looking for it right now over to my right side. If anybody has a link for the presser, let me know, because I can't find it. First search on YouTube, I can't find it. Maybe it says arrest alleged Gilgo Beach, Long Island serial killer Rex Norman announced. So that's breaking news to me, but I seen it in Discord earlier. What we know about the suspect and victims in the Gilgo Beach serial killings. The fact that they had the police chief as like the main suspect is wild. Oh, nobody upset me. We're good. Thanks for sharing the Discord, Hollis. I didn't even know the serial killer existed. So very sad. The 911 call was hard to listen to. You didn't know? Wow. I followed this case for a while also. And I've talked about this on the channel before. I've talked about the Gilgo Beach murders before. I'm sure some of you heard me talk about it at one point. But to think that a killer got caught is crazy. That actually blows my mind right now. It actually blows my mind right now to think that. I'm trying to find this presser real quick. Okay. They're setting up right now, so
press conference that
I got it right here. Thanks for actually saying that, Angelic. I appreciate you. One and only Boss Brooklyn. I mean, thank you. I appreciate you. If anybody wants to call, I mean, I guess we could catch it right now. We could definitely catch it. We could definitely catch that. So let me fix this real quick. I see also, I see what you tagged me into, Baldy Mama. Let's actually fix this real quick. I don't know why it's messing up and being weird, but we're about to fix that right now. Do I have too many tabs open? What's going on?
They don't have to show up there. And if both parties don't want it, then the judge is not going to have it done. And that's why the university was going to demolish the place. It's a house of horrors. It's a macabre tourist site, and they don't want that there any longer than it has to be there. But because of the wishes of the family, they're going to postpone it until at least October.
So I have sort of seen the gamut of juries and jurors and what they consider reasonable, which is the critical aspect of being a juror, being reasonable. And if juries can't be reasonable with the photos and the videos and really don't feel comfortable making a death penalty decision.
Okay, so if you're just coming in, we made an adjustment. We're going to watch the presser of the Long Island serial killer. We're watching that because I followed that case from the beginning. I'm interested in that myself in general, and they're setting up for that right now. I have the presser pulled up to my right. I'm waiting for them to get up there and speak. So we're going to cover that. We'll have an open discussion, of course, about the Idaho 4. And then we were talking about Gannon's autopsy photos being released and whose fault is it? And I think it's, not only hers for releasing it, but the county that sent it to her. They should be held accountable. And it's Colorado from what I was able to find. It's nasty work. It's nasty work to get somebody's autopsy photos and sell them, especially 11-year-old kids. Is just mind-blowing. Sorry, being there is not the same as a picture or video. Just ask a 5-year-old who's been to Disney World. Keep speaking facts, Dana. You didn't make me mad or nothing like that. I don't know where you got that from, but shout out to you. Angelica says, that's awesome. It's one of those cases you wonder will ever be caught, right? It gives me hope for Missy Bevers also. Missy Bevers is another case that we're going to be covering extensively on the channel, from content videos to lives. So we haven't dove into it yet, which I've done a couple lives on it, but we really haven't got deep into it because I'm going to be creating a timeline to the Missy Bevers case from like start to finish, something we can go off and talk about, because I think that's solvable too. And I'll be having Jennifer Coffindorfer on for that one. She has a close friend, and hopefully I can get the interview set up with the close friend of Missy Bevers also. Thank you, Scout Sally, for joining. I appreciate you. Everybody, welcome, Scout.
Without seeing it for themselves, what is the downside of just
crazy
keeping that? I understand a blight in the community, but in the interest of justice and the life of a man,
that's crazy.
What is the downside on just keeping the potential visit in play?
Well, you hit on it as far as the blight in the community. I mean, really, for some people, it's traumatic to have this structure continue to stand. Then you ask the parties to say, are you going to use it? Are you going to seek a jury visit? And right now, the prosecution and the defense both say, no, we're not going to seek it. And so in that sense, it won't matter if some jurors said, I want to see it. If the attorneys on both sides said no, then it's not going to be granted, because ultimately it's up to the judge to make that decision. And look, it's rare in itself. Look, we saw it recently in the Nicholas Cruz case in Parkland, where the prosecution wanted
What's going on, Arlene?
to see the site of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School.
Arlene Wiley, welcome. Justice says, think positive, or a mistake could change the law.
And it was a chilling visit. And the defense was outraged. They said, no, we object, but the judge granted anyways. And look what happened. The jury still said no to the death penalty. So it rarely is granted, and it rarely makes a difference.
Well, I can only think of Murdoch, right? And the jury went to the home, Moselle. They took a walk around and everything had changed, right? New trees had been planted, all sorts of foliage was different. The line of sight from the house down to the kennels, I was astounded that jury visit happened, and they convicted. So I've seen it go both ways. I just, call me crazy. In the interest of justice, I always feel like do everything possible. But Dave, you're smarter than me, and I love having you on. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you for watching. Go to news.
Hold up 1 second. Let me pull this up. All right, here's live footage. Here's live footage from the Long Island serial killer, like the actual spot. This is some live footage coming in. Interesting. Let's see what they show beforehand. Long Island serial killer allegedly caught after major breakthrough. So are they just looking at the house right here?
How old is his son? Sounds like 40 years old, right? No, he's maybe late 20s. My grandma said that she knows the wife was there, she knows the son was there, she just wasn't sure
I mean, you got to think there's 11 bodies that were found. So I mean, this is a major break. 11 bodies. Thank you, Hollis. The trial starts July 24th. A court hearing on the 21st. 24th. That's in a couple weeks, or like 2 weeks. Thank you, Hollis. I appreciate you. What's going on, Libby Live? Long Island serial killer was caught. Crazy. Maybe we should. Time does fly by.
So how does he get, if he has a house, he's going to have to kind of go on the street, he's having them come to his rest. Yeah. So it couldn't be the only guy. They're going to these parties, Right now, also, Oak Beach right now, no one's getting there. They're telling you, I'm telling you, like, the cops are so bad. They're not the kind of guy who's not real. This guy,
So we had that.
NewsNationNow.com to find News Nation on your television
All right, I got
provider.
the live pulled up to my
Here's
left, so I'm waiting for them to go live. So they will be live on the update. I'm looking at the podium. They're not there speaking yet, but we're going to wait for them to come up. Once they speak, we'll go full screen and check out the details on the arrest of the Long Island Gilgo Beach serial killer. Now, is he responsible for all 11 bodies? That's a good question. T-REV, he's caught. Yeah, he's got a weird look, in my opinion. And he has 2 kids from what I was looking at. He does have 2 kids. What can we find out about the Long Island serial killer? While we're looking and waiting, which we got like 9 minutes. Let's see what we can find out about him. I want to figure out what we can find out about him real quick. 3 minutes, Rex. So I see it's Rex, right? And it goes, the burlap wrapped bodies were unearthed near remote Gilgo Beach on Long Island South Shore more than a decade ago. It says terrifying the residents and leaving the victims' families in disbelief. And all the remains of 9 women, a man and a toddler were discovered. So wow. Was somebody caught off guard with a toddler? And he just decided to get rid of the toddler also? So they were discovered, right? And this is for a breakdown for people who don't know about it. Since then, investigators have tried to determine whether the killings had been committed by one person or by multiple killers. But for more than a decade, the case went nowhere. Then on Thursday, Rex Hoerman, I guess if that's how you say your name, an architect who had lived most of his life in Nassau County, which I lived there before, West Babylon, and worked in Manhattan, was taken into custody, and a bail application said he had been charged in 3 killings and was prime suspect in a 4th. So it says before his arrest, investigators had sifted through clues as simple as, what is that, mammogram belt, and as a sophisticated as an electric signals of disposal mobile phones. Okay, so burner phones in other sense. Let's just go ahead and break that down and say burner phones. So burner phones. By Friday morning, police officers had been sent off to Mr. Hoerman's. I don't even know how to say this dude's last name. Mr. Hoerman's home, a small 1-story house with faded red paint on a block of First Avenue in Massapequa Park, which I've been to the Massapequa. I think there's a mall in Massapequa. Correct me if I'm wrong, my New Yorkers, but I've been there before. I was younger, right? I was like 18, 19. So it says where vehicles and officers coverage on the scene. News continues to fill up as we speak. It says the authorities made the arrest in Midtown Manhattan on Thursday night, said Rodney Harrison, the Suffolk County Police Commissioner, during a brief news conference outside the house late Friday morning. The suspect was expected to be indicted Friday afternoon, said Commissioner Harrison, who did not name the person arrested. The non-stop dodged determination, or I'm sorry, the nonstop dog determination of several agencies led to the arrest, said Stephen Balloon, the Suffolk County executive, adding that he hoped it would bring justice for these victims and closures for the families who have suffered. It says the killings terrorized residents for more than a decade as body after body was discovered in a remote area about 40 miles from Midtown, starting in 2010, and all of the remains of 9 women, a man, and a toddler, that's 11 bodies, were discovered in the area. For years, investigators have probed whether the killings have been committed by one person or by multiple killers. The work is not done, but this is a major step forward, says Commissioner Balloon, or Bell One. Maybe that's how you say his name. I don't know. In recent years, investigators use a sophisticated technology to pinpoint the locations of disposable cellular phones they believe the killer used to contact his victims in the hours before they disappeared. It says a person with knowledge of the inquiry said that investigators used this mapping technology to find where the calls originated and narrowed them to a small area near First Avenue in Massapequa Park. Now, it said that is where Mr. Howerman, whatever, lived, in a small section of Midtown Manhattan, which turned out to be near his office. It says Howerman lived most, if not all of his life in the tidy working class suburb, roughly an hour by train or car from Midtown Manhattan. Neighbors described him as an average man who walked to the Massapequa Park station every day wearing a suit and toting a briefcase. Seeing him walk to the train, you'd never think he was anything but a businessman, said a neighbor. So the neighbor's already speaking out. So it says, after hearing about this case for so many years, it's a shock, said the neighbor, Cheryl Lombardi said. So it says, no one answered the phone at Mr. Howerman's firm, RH Consultants and Associates, on Friday morning. An email-seeking comment was not immediately returned. The 4 women connected to Mr. Howerman each were wrapped in a burlap sack and taped in a similar way, then buried within a quarter-mile along Gilgo Beach. Now, I wonder if they found that tape or anything and were able to connect the same tape to him, because I've seen those techniques done, obviously on Forensic Files, the First 48, so they were able to pull some of the same fabrics off of it, stuff like that, and those are investigative techniques that they use to capture people like this, who make the same mistakes. People make mistakes, I'm telling you. You don't just see it in the Idaho case where mistakes were made. Mistakes are made almost in every single murder. And that's why it'll never be a perfect murder. Now, it says the bodies were essentially next to each other. The person with the knowledge of the matter said investigators learned that the disposable phones were used to contact the women in the evening, late in the night, and early morning hours. It says daytime contacts were made in a small area of Midtown Manhattan near Penn Station, a few blocks away from Mr. Howerman's office. In a February 2022 interview, Mr. Howerman described himself as an architect and an architectural consultant who closely read building and administrative codes and kept an extensive library of obsolete books. He said, I am a troubleshooter, born and raised in Long Island, been working in Manhattan since 1987. So this is this guy right here, right? What a weirdo. And this is a guy hiding in plain sight. This guy's hiding in plain sight. Crazy. I actually want to look him up real quick. See, there's documentaries, but I don't want to see the documentary. Pull that up. Nah, you ain't.
Last night, what happened?
Watch this before
last night I went for a bicycle ride.
It's about to come on.
About 11 o'clock at night, because I'm crazy. And while riding my bike, I saw a bus sitting over here. This road was closed. There were a few. I didn't know.
Welcome, Steffi. I appreciate it.
Standing at the corners, and it seemed like every corner had people standing on it. And then I woke up this morning to this chaos. I had no idea it was this big, whatever it was, whatever the investigation was last night. but I did lock all my doors.
That's crazy.
And my wife walked the dog the opposite way.
What's your reaction?
My reaction is this is nuts. It's really, really crazy. You never know. You never know who your neighbors are, right? It's crazy, man. So thank God he's been caught, though, right?
Okay, here we go. Hold on. We got this coming up. They're about to take the podium real quick. Hold up. Let's get up here.
Will begin momentarily.
We're about to take the podium for this Long Island serial killer, and I'll mute up too.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
New York authorities have made an arrest in the Gilgo Beach serial murders from more than 13 years ago. The suspect, a Long Island architect, has pleaded not guilty this afternoon, and we're moments away from a press conference where we're expected to learn more information about an arrest more than a decade in the making. Hello there to you, folks. JB here with you live now, officially across all platforms on WFLA Now. We were just live with Walt Buteau, our senior investigator. He had to step away for other stories that are unfolding today in the state of Florida.
Give me the press conference, bro. I'm waiting for the press conference. I want to see the press conference. I don't know what's going on here, but like I said, I'm waiting for that press conference. Let me pull this up too while we're waiting. About to go to Facebook. I'm about to pull this up real quick. The press conference, I thought it was starting right now. Are they running late or something? Long Island. Usually Facebook has them first. Okay, here we go. I got it right here.
That is unfolding.
All right, so he's already got it there. Let's see. There, it's here. All right, here we are. Gotcha. Copy that. We got it right here. We were just waiting. Miss Brazy, thank you. I appreciate you. I see you, troll. Sunshine. I wasn't going to South Shore for years. True story. Said I wasn't going to South Shore for years. Hold up, fam. Just coming in. Have to watch replay after this is over. It's all right, Julie. It's cool. They should be coming up any moment. We're just waiting for them to come up. Is this them right now? No. I guess they're running late, huh? It's all good. I'm keeping an eye on it. We're gonna watch videos until they start, though. I'm keeping a very close eye on it.
Think about that. That's a relief. You know, everybody's always wondering who the heck this guy was. And, he lived a couple of houses away from me. So
those photos are out there forever. That's a fact. Let's see what else they got.
We continue to
tell us, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been in New York.
Okay.
This is him?
Rex Heuermann. I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987. Patience.
That's funny. I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah. Patience. And I don't like to use the word tolerance, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And it's not just with the city, it's also with the client.
This is him. So the 59-year-old architect was taken into custody. So this is the guy speaking out. Accent. I got my mini monitor set up over here too. I can also see when that press conference is taking place, we are going to catch that press conference live as it happens. I have the direct feed pulled up. The direct feed. So we're just waiting for that live feed to come on so we can watch it. I got the Gilgo Beach murders arrest, which, you know, I've actually had a while. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the documentary on it, but now it makes me want to go revisit it. 2 hours ago. So here, I remember this guy.
The work is not done here, but this is a major, major step forward in achieving the goal that we have had from the beginning, and that is, again, to bring closure to these families and to bring justice to the victims in this case.
You must be still behind, huh? That was it. That was a light interview. Right?
I want to bring in News Nation anchor Marnie.
I'm good on that. Hold up. What we know about the suspect and victims. I don't know. They might strike the channel, so we got to be careful with that, right? We definitely got to be careful with that. CBS New York. Will they smoke us? I mean, it's only 1 minute though. New video related to Gilgo Beach murders released by police 1 year ago. We seen all this stuff though. We want to see the actual press conference. We want to see the actual press conference. Yes, this is him. T-REV. It's about business. He acts normal, very frightening. I mean, yeah. This is that's why I tell people be vigilant, because people can act and you'll never know. People can act and you'll never know. But I do got like I said, I got the live feed pulled up right here. I'm looking at it with my own eyes right now. Nobody is on the podium yet. And it's fox5ny.com that I actually have the live feed from. They are posted up there. There's nobody talking. We're just waiting. They must be I don't know. I'm looking to see if they're coming in. And it looks like they are. I'm about to pull it over. Maybe not. Maybe not yet. You can hear people talking though. We're getting there. Live feed pulled up. I mean, what's everybody's thoughts on it? I don't know if you followed the case or not, but what's everybody's, thoughts on this whole entire case if you did keep up with it? I do remember the bodies coming up. I remember them talking about like this police officer, somebody. I remember watching the documentary where somebody broke into his car. Like, there was some wild shit on this case. I don't know. I know about Babylon. You know about Babylon? Nancy Grace, Fox. I won't be watching that fake news. Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace is the wife. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Hold up.
Excuse me. The fuck did you just say?
I'm just playing. I love you. Not everybody loves Nancy, and I get it. It is what it is. Much love to you, though. The killing season dark. Okay, here we go. I'm muting up.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. I'm standing here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce the indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years of age. He's been arrested by the Suffolk County Police Department's homicide detectives, and he's been indicted in a grand jury presentation by the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. I'm here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce these young women indictment of defendant Rex Andrew July of 2007, 59 years of age. 2010. He's been arrested by the Suffolk County Police Department's homicide detectives. He's been indicted in a grand jury presentation by the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The investigation of Maureen Brainerd Barnes is ongoing. These young women went missing between July of 2007 and September of 2010. They were found in December of 2010 by the Suffolk County Police Department, and then there was nothing, absolutely nothing. For the next 13 years, their cases went unsolved until today. When I took office in January of 2022, I made Gilgo a priority. I made Gilgo a priority before I took office. I met with the victims' families, some of whom I'm proud to have standing with us today. And I told them that we were going to handle this case differently. We were going to do it differently. And that when I showed up, you weren't going to see me calling the media and being on Gilgo Beach with a giant magnifying lens looking for clues 12 years after the case. What I was going to do was I was going to work with my task force. We were going to form this task force, and we were going to work together, and we were going to use the grand jury, the power of the grand jury to reach a determination in this case. Because the grand jury has two things. It has power, it has reach. You could obtain documents, you could interview witnesses. But the other thing that the grand jury has secrecy. No one knows what you do when you operate a grand jury proceeding. And we knew that when we were investigating this case and when we dealt with the media or whatever it was we were doing, we were playing before a party of one, because we knew the person responsible for these murders would be looking at us. So we were very careful how we handled the investigation. We maintained the integrity of the investigation. Most importantly of all, we maintained the secrecy of that investigation. And I think that's paid dividends as we've seen today. Now, I think that when we had the task force, the first thing we did, got together with Suffolk County Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison. We formed the task force. Our first meeting was February 1st of 2022. And what we did, what all of the agencies here, we made the commitment. We were going to take our most talented investigators. So in the district attorney's office, we took ADAs, myself included. We took analysts, we took detective investigators, and they worked on a daily basis with other talented investigators from all of the agencies here. We started that in February 1st in 2022. 6 weeks later, on March 14th, 2022, the name Rex Heuermann was first mentioned as a suspect in the Gilgo case. A New York State investigator was able to identify him in a database. And from that point on, we used the power of the grand jury, over 300 subpoenas and search warrants looking into this individual's background to bring us to this day. So I'm proud. I know that this case is over, but I'm proud of what we've accomplished up to this point. I know we have more to accomplish, but I'm also thankful for the partnership of the task force, because certainly without the participation of the task force, we wouldn't be standing here. Before I thank some folks and turn it over to our partners, I just want to talk a little bit about the evidence in the case. I know a lot of people know about the case. As I indicated, the victims went missing between July of 2010 and July of 2007 and September of 2010. And in December of 2010, their bodies were recovered. They were buried in a similar fashion, in a similar location, in a similar way. All the women were petite. They all did the same thing for a living. They all advertised the same way. And there were immediately, there were similarities with regard the crime scenes. All the women were bound at the head, at the midsection, or at the chest, and later at the legs. The other thing I think that that's been talked about in the media was they were bound by burlap. That has taken a life of its own in the media, and the burlap has been described or thought to be the burlap that's used at a nursery for. That's not the burlap that was used in this case. The burlap was camouflage burlap used for duck blinds, so hunting. Obviously it was used to purposely hide the bodies. One thing that became immediately apparent was at the time of each of the murders, the murderer, the defendant Heuermann, he got a cell phone and a burner phone, which is prepaid and anonymous. And for each of the murders, he got an individual burner phone, and he used that to communicate with the victims. Then shortly after the death of the victims, he then would get rid of the burner phone. And right away in December of 2012, FBI CAST analysts, special agents with the CAST unit of the FBI, they immediately began looking at that cell site data. They compared the victims' phones with the burner phones, and they immediately honed in on some similarities, specifically in the Massapequa Park area. And they looked at an area of a confluence of 4 cell towers, and they realized that this had significance because the perpetrator of these crimes was probably located within this area at or around the times of the murder. And that was mapped out. That was called the box, and it was an area in Massapequa Park. The FBI also managed to do that for an area in Midtown Manhattan. And so that was an investigative lead. The other investigative lead at the time was, even though there was a significant amount of time that elapsed with regard to before the victims were recovered, there was some significant evidence recovered. Specifically, there was a hair recovered from Maureen Brainerd Barnes from a belt buckle that was around her legs. With regard to Megan Waterman, there were 3 hairs recovered from her, one from around her head area, one from around her leg area in the burlap, and then there was one caught in between the tape. And that was recovered. Amber Costello also had a significant hair that was recovered during the time of the recovery. But again, the crime scene, because it was out there for so long and because it was exposed to the elements, those hairs were degraded, so you couldn't use traditional DNA analysis on it. You would have to wait and use mitochondrial DNA. And back in 2010, the technology wasn't there for mitochondrial DNA. So the investigation proceeded, but also technology proceeded as well. And then in January and February of 2022, we formed the task force. We began working collectively. And then a mere 6 weeks later, on March 14th, 2022, Rex Heuermann was identified for the first time. And the manner in which that was done was the New York State investigator looked at a database. Amber Costello, the day before her disappearance on September 1st, 2010, she met with an individual for the purposes of having him pay her money for her services. But she involved herself in a ruse where once the individual gave her money, and other individuals came into the house, pretended to be significant others, confronted the individual with the purpose of making that individual uncomfortable, having him leave without retrieving his money. And that's exactly what happened. So that individual was identified as a person who was between 6'4" and 6'6", a large man, thickly built, not necessarily overly muscular, but just a naturally big person with glasses, white, and dark hair. Also of significance was that the fact that he was driving a dark-colored black first generation Chevrolet Avalanche with a very unique feature that was between it's a pickup truck, so it was between the cab and the bed, and that was identified. Again, that was back in 2010. But it wasn't until March of 2022 that database was searched by the task force, and this individual was identified. That individual was Rex Heuermann, the defendant, and right away there were some commonalities that came right to the fore. Rex Heuermann, 6'4", largely a large person, not necessarily muscular, but a very physically large person. He has glasses. He has the dark hair, and also of particular note, he owned at the time that first generation Chevy Avalanche. There was more. He lived at 105 First Avenue, which was located within that box area that the FBI first discovered in 2012. But there was more. Also, he worked at the time at an architect he owned his own architectural firm at an address at 19 West 36th Street in Midtown Manhattan. And that was also the area of interest that was identified by the FBI in 2012. Again, that was March 14th, 2022. And from that point on, our partners and my office, we used the grand jury to continue to investigate, and we executed over 300 subpoenas, search warrants pertaining to this individual to find out more information. One of the things that we did is we followed him because we wanted to get an abandonment sample of his DNA, which we were able to do. We also got DNA samples, abandonment samples from his family. And then we went back and we got mitochondrial DNA testing. And with regard to, there's an aspect of New York State law that doesn't allow me to talk about DNA testing, specifically at press conferences. So I can't do that. However, at the arraignment, and also when we filed our bail letter, we talked about the significance of that evidence. So if anyone needs to see that, but suffice to say, that evidence was significant, especially with regard to the other evidence that we had developed. But there was another interesting aspect. We looked at the Heuermann family travel records, and we learned that during the murders of the last three women, Bartholomew, Waterman, and Costello, that during the commission of those murders, the defendant's wife and children were out of New York State, and he was alone in the tri-state area. We also went back and looked at his cell site records, and we compared his personal cell site records with that of the 4 target phones, and we saw that there was areas of commonality. In other words, that whenever the target phones would bounce off a cell tower, if the Heuermann personal phone bounced off a tower, it was always consistent and in close proximity with the target phones. And at no time was there ever an instant where those target phones were, for instance, in New Jersey while the defendant was on Long Island. So that was completely consistent. The other thing that we looked at was we looked at his use of burner phones, and we followed, using the grand jury, using the great investigative help from our partners, we followed his use of burner phones. We were able to identify 7 separate burner phones that he used. We were able to use fictitious or fraudulent email addresses, and get Google warrants. And from there, we got his searches. And we learned what the defendant was searching. In a 14-month period, he had over 200 searches pertaining to the Gilgo investigation. Not only was he looking at investigative insight, he was trying to figure out how is the task force using cell phones to try to figure out what's happening. What are the developments with regard to the task force? And this really supported our decision to keep our investigative focus secret, because we knew that this one person would be watching, and we didn't want to give him any insight into what we were doing. And we also didn't want him to know just how close we were getting. So we maintained the grand jury secrecy, and we maintained the integrity of our investigation. In addition to those Gilgo searches, he was compulsively searching pictures of the victims, but not only pictures of the victims, pictures of their relatives, their sisters, their children, and he was trying to locate those individuals. In addition to that, there was a lot of torture, porn, and what you would consider, depictions of women being abused, being raped, and being killed. In addition to all of that, we continued to look, and we were able to determine that Chevy Avalanche that was used during the commission of the Amber Costello crime, that Chevy Avalanche was in South Carolina. And again, with the help of our partners, we were able to seize that Chevy Avalanche pursuant to a search warrant, and we're certainly going to analyze that. In addition to that, pursuant to the arrest of the defendant last night by the Suffolk County Police Department, we obtained one of his burner phones, his last burner phones. As I said, this case is not over, it's only beginning. We're continuing to execute search warrants, and we anticipate getting more evidence. Before I turn it over to my partners, I want to thank a lot of people in the room. First and foremost, I want to thank the victims in this case. You know, it's always inspiring as a prosecutor when you get to meet the victims. And while sometimes our defendants could embody the very worst of humanity, it seems that invariably our victims embody the very best of what it means to be human. And in this case, it was no different. I've gotten to know the families, and I'm inspired by them, and I'm impressed by their patience and by their dogged persistence in not only supporting their lost sisters or mother or daughter, but also really really standing for victims everywhere. So I want to thank them all so much, and I want to let them know that we're going to continue to work this case. The next thing I want to do, I want to thank our partners. I want to thank Suffolk County Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison. We said it was a change, and when we talked about not going before the media, if you see, Rodney did go before the media, but it was always in a very controlled manner, and it was always with a controlled purpose. Again, we did that because we knew we were playing before an audience of one person. And so I want to thank Rodney for his partnership. Most importantly, I want to thank Rodney for his integrity. I think in the past, the reason why these various investigations fell short was because there was a lot of outside influence, a lot of people who had nothing to do with the investigation, nothing to do with the investigation or any of the agencies that were actually handling the investigation. They still asserted pressure on those investigations. That did not happen with our task force. Our task force was run by our members, and we did what we thought was in the best the best investigative steps and what was in the best interest of the investigation. So I want to thank Rodney for that, and his whole team. I know that we have Suffolk County Homicide here, Kevin Byer. We've got Inspector Rowan, and I know that they've been around, and I know that they're here, and I know that they stand in the shoes of their past investigators, and I want to congratulate them, and I want to thank them for their partnership. I also want to thank Sheriff Errol Toulon. Everything I said about Rodney, I could say about Errol. Errol is an unbelievable partner. He was an unbelievable partner in this case. During the pendency of this case, and one of the reasons why we had to take this case down was we learned that the defendant was using these alternate identities and these alternate instruments to continue to patronize sex workers, which of course made us very nervous. But with the help of the sheriff and his database and his analysts, we were able to continually stay one step ahead of the defendant. So thank you, Sheriff Toulon. I want to thank the FBI. I know Assistant Director in Charge Michael Brodak is here. I want to thank his entire team. You know, when you have the FBI, not only do you have tremendous resources and insight, whether it's the Behavioral Sciences Unit, whether it's CAST, whether it's CART, which is their computer unit, but you also have the ability to seize a car in South Carolina. I can't seize a car in South Carolina without the FBI. So thank you for that. And thank you for your partnership. And thank you for your willingness to work with us. I want to thank the New York State troopers. I know Major Udis is here and his team. You know, this case is emblematic of great cooperation, but we always get that same level of cooperation from the state police, no matter what case we're working. So I want to thank them. Their investigators did great work on this job and in this case, and we couldn't have done it without them. Lastly, I want to thank Nassau County Police Commissioner Pat Ryder. I don't know if he's here. Did he make it? You know, this case, as I said, spans 13 years, and during that time, Pat Ryder has been our neighbor to the west. When it started, I think he was a sergeant, detective sergeant, maybe uniform sergeant, but whatever. Whenever we needed something to be done, or whenever the task force needed something to be done, Pat Ryder would do it, and he would do it quietly, without much fanfare, and we know he would keep the confidentiality of our grand jury and our investigation. So I want to thank him for that. And with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Rodney Harrison.
Good afternoon. Today is a good day. And before I acknowledge the individuals that had a role in getting to this place, I would first and foremost like to offer my deepest condolences to the family members. To the family members of Amber Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman. I can only imagine what you had to endure over the last decade regarding knowing that your killer was still loose. God bless you. So I've had the privilege of being the police commissioner nearly about 2 years now, and I have had that investigative experience in the NYPD as a detective, as the chief of detectives. And when I was going through the process of being the police commissioner, my engagement with the county executive was I was very familiar with this unfortunate homicides. And I wanted to let it be known that this was going to be our #1 priority. But I also want to make this very clear that this arrest was made by the investigators assigned to the task force. I announced during a press conference 18 months ago about a new team effort that was going to investigate the homicide, and that was going to consist of people from Ray Tierney's office, from Mike Broddock, FBI. Mike, thank you so much. State Police, Steve, appreciate your support. Dr. Earl Toulon, Jr., thank you, sir. As well as the investigators from the homicide detectives in Suffolk County. Gentlemen, thank you for all you've done, working together with us, making sure we are here today. I also want to thank my partner, Pat Ryder. Pat, good seeing you, man. And former NYPD Police Commissioner, Keyshawn Sewell, for providing resources to assist in the investigation that brought us here today. So, one of my first acts was to survey the scene. When I first got assigned as a police commissioner, me and Kevin Breyer went over to Gilgo Beach. I want to thank Kevin. You know, when I first met Kevin, he broke the whole case down and where we stood. He knew the case like the back of his hand. He worked tirelessly in this case. Kev was in charge of overseeing the task force since its creation, and you did a phenomenal job, Kev. Thank you. So there's something that I learned from a former NYPD police commissioner, James O'Neill, which is in order to fight crime or to solve investigations, you have to make sure you're working with your law enforcement partners. The blueprint in making this arrest was a whole team effort. Everybody left their egos at the door and made sure that they brought the knowledge and the resources to this investigation. Fresh eyes on this case and the resiliency of our investigators allowed us to identify Rex Heuermann. Ladies and gentlemen, Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us, a predator that ruined families. If not for the members of this task force, he would still be out in the streets today. However, even with this arrest, we're not done. There's more work to do in this investigation regarding the other victims of the Gilgo Beach bodies that were discovered. I'm going to encourage anybody that still has information, call our Crime Stoppers hotline, 1-800-220-TIPS. I want to recognize and thank my Chief of Detectives, John. Thank you for your great work. Deputy Police Commissioner Anthony Carter, both of you who provided update information regarding the case and let it be known if there was any resources that they needed that you brought it to my attention. Since the discovery of the first victim, there's been a lot of scrutiny and criticism regarding how this investigation was handled. I will tell you this, the investigators were never discouraged. They continued and uncovered evidence and followed leads. They never stopped working and will continue to work tirelessly until we bring justice to all the families involved. Last but not least, I want to thank my predecessors that came before me, the work that they did. I want to thank them for really laying the foundation that helped us get to here today. Thanks, Ray.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Broddock. I'm the FBI Special Agent in charge of the New York office's Criminal Division. The FBI expended its full set of resources in support of our local and state partners to advance this investigation. The charges show that we can overcome the most difficult challenges when federal, state, and local law enforcement work together under one task force. While nothing can fill the void caused by the loss of a loved one, through today's announcement, we are hopeful that the families of the victims begin to experience a sense of peace, closure, and justice, and that the general public feels safer knowing that an alleged killer is no longer roaming free. The actions taken today should serve as a reminder that the FBI, along with our law enforcement partners, will continue to be resolute in our determination to bring all offenders to justice, no matter how many years has passed. I would like to thank Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney and his prosecution team, Suffolk County Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison and the Suffolk County Police Department, the New York State Police, and the investigators and staff of the FBI New York Field Office, including the Long Island Violent Crime Task Force. Thank you.
Is that it? No.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Errol D. Toulon Jr., and I'm the Sheriff of Suffolk County. I would profoundly like to thank the District Attorney and the Police Commissioner for including me not only here today, but for including the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office and recognizing the importance of jail intelligence. It is extremely important when you realize that we created our human trafficking unit in 2018, that there are victims in our community, and that intelligence is being shared by many of the men and women who are incarcerated today. And we have seen many disjointed investigations occur, and leading up to the leadership of these two men have really brought everything together. I am proud that today we stand here a little bit closer to bringing closure to the families and extend my deepest condolences to all of you. Because of the nature of this case, and recognizing that human trafficking and corrections intelligence is so important, we realize that there are many other cases that are going on that we will help to solve going forward. So I thank my intelligence staff and team that are here today for their diligence and their work. While we did our part in this investigation, we continue because we have to house this individual. We have already designated or talked about certain locations where we will house them. And in addition, the security measures we will implement in our facility to make sure that this individual is brought to justice the way he should be. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Good afternoon. I'm Colonel Richard Allen, the field commander with the state police. And I want to start by expressing my sincere condolences to the family members that are here today. Although losing a loved one, you can never completely get rid of that pain, but hopefully these steps that are taken here today are a step in the right direction for you to start in the healing process or work through the healing process. I want to thank the members of the task force, all the agencies you see behind me. When we were approached in 2022 to be part of this task force, we were fully engaged. Glad to be part of this. We assigned investigators on a full-time basis. You know, what you see being done here today is the end game of agencies working together, as was said before, with no egos, all egos put aside, with the sole mission to find justice for these victims. You know, here in Troop L, Major Stephen Udis oversees the operations down here. He has been intricately involved in this task force since we became partners with it. And I'm going to ask him to come up and say a few words or expand upon this a little bit of our role in the task force.
Thank you, Colonel. Good afternoon. I'm Major Steve Udis, New York State Police, Troop L, Long Island Troop Commander. I'd like to take this opportunity to start off by acknowledging the DA, Ray Tierney, and Commissioner Rodney Harrison for having the vision to see that forming a task force might breathe new light into this investigation. The state police were asked in early 2022 to join this task force, and once requested, we were more than willing to do so. We were also very pleased that we were able to make some very meaningful contributions in this case to help propel it forward. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of the task force members from the different agencies and congratulate them on a job well done. I think this case represents an example of what we as law enforcement can do when we pool our resources together and we work together. I would also like to mention the state police member assigned to this task force. You were provided with a mission, and that mission was to participate in this task force, put everything else that you were doing aside, place 100% of your attention on this case, and help push this case forward. You more than accomplished that mission. I congratulate you on a job well done, and I commend you for your outstanding work. To the families, I'd like to say that on behalf of myself and the New York State Police, we offer you our deepest condolences. We recognize that these crimes may have happened years ago, but that pain continues. Our hope is that this development today provides you with some relief and some comfort, knowing that the person responsible for your loved one's death is now being held accountable, and he's no longer a threat to anyone else in society. I want you to know, additionally, that the state police is not done here. We are remaining committed and will continue to support the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, the Suffolk County Police Department, and this task force as we move into the next phase of this process. That's the prosecution. I would also like to say something to everyone watching this with us today. There's been a lot of discussion here today about charges, about the suspect, about what happened, but I would also like everybody to take the time to join with me and keep the families of the victims and the victims themselves in your thoughts and in your prayers. Each one of these victims was a family member and a loved one, and their void and their loss caused great pain, and they did not deserve this. Nobody is deserving of this. We hope this development today will bring some comfort to them as they move forward. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
The investigation had to be cut short at one point because of, I think you were fearing the defendant easily, but more importantly, the safety of people in the community. Can you just explain that more here?
Sure. Before I do that, I'm standing back there. I realized I didn't thank my own team. So I want to thank my chief investigator, Rich Zacharis, who is I am so lucky to have. I want to thank Nick Santamartino, ADA Nick Santamartino, ADA Michelle Haddad, ADA Andrew Lee. I also want to thank my chief assistant, Alan Bodie, and I want to thank all of the incredible analysts that we have working for us at the Suffolk County DA's office. So having said that, I will now answer your question. I think that there was a tension in the task force, and it was a good tension because there's a tension between getting the evidence necessary to charge somebody, but also keeping the public safe. And that's the tension that we always deal with. So as we were working forward, we had Suffolk County PD, we had the FBI surveilling the defendant. Obviously, that can't be all the time, but we were reasonably assured with that. But this individual was a person that continued to patronize sex workers at all hours of the night. He continued to use fictitious email addresses, fictitious identities, burner phones. And so as we worked through the case and we got closer and closer, all of a sudden, and we built the evidence, suddenly the balance tips in favor of public safety. So, I think we all wanted as a task force to continue it, but I think collectively we felt that it was time to strike that balance and to take him off the street. So that's what we did. I don't believe they, does anybody want to say? No, they're here. I can tell you they're the Waterman, Bartholomew, and Brainerd Barnes family members, but they're here. They're here first and foremost to support their loved ones, and we're happy and grateful to have them here. This portion had to deal with the deaths of these 4 young women. And that's what we focused on. That was what the grand jury investigation was focused on. I talked about the commonalities, and the commonalities, all of those commonalities that we talked to were unique to these 4 separate cases. So that's what we're working on. I think the other members of the task force said, you know, we're going to continue, and continue to work and investigate and try to get a small measure of closure for all the victims' families. But for right now, this defendant, it's this defendant with these 4 victims. I'm here to talk about what we did with regard to these 4 victims, and as I open my address by talking about the need to maintain investigative secrecy. So we are going to maintain that investigative secrecy. And when I talk about other individuals and other cases, it will be after they have handcuffs on.
There was a New York State officer made the link with Herman. He looked at data, and that's when Herman came up shortly after the task force. Can you explain that? Can you talk a little more about that?
So, I mean, we talked about some of the evidence that was there. Obviously the cast, that phone evidence was great evidence. And then there were other commonalities, there were other investigations. But I think one of the good things about having a task force is basically you strip it all down and you start from scratch, and then you use the DA's office, because the DA's office has to get you the lifeblood of an investigation is information. And the way you get information on a cold case is the district attorney's office issues subpoenas in conjunction with the investigators and execute search warrants, again, in conjunction with the investigators. And then you mine all that data, and then you let that data take you where you need to go. So that's what we did in this case. And 6 weeks in, the break in the case, a significant break in the case, was the avalanche, and the fact that this guy, he was described by witnesses as an ogre. He matched the description of the ogre and where he lived.
Was the avalanche the link there? Was that what jumped out?
Well, I mean, it was a lot of things, right? It was his physical size. It was his where he lived, where he worked. The fact that his family members were out of the country at the time of the commission of the 3 murders. The fact that then you start looking into him, and then you start getting burner phones. Well, we had up to 7 burner phones. He's using these fictitious email addresses. So then you follow him and you get an abandonment sample. Then you go back to some of the old evidence. So it's, there are, I mean, March 14th, 2022 was a huge day for the task force, but it's never one piece of evidence. Well, there's like what they'll call lawman searches, and basically what it is you run a certain make and model of a car and certain other, where you live or what you do for a living, and then you get data, and then you mine that data for something that would match with your case. And you do that. You don't do that just you do that 100 times, until it hits, until you get the right data points. So we can't talk about ethically in New York. We can't talk about any statements the defendant made, but he made. We're not turning over any statements. I would say he was, yes. Yeah. So in between the bed and the cab, there's like a little triangular ornament almost, and it's unique in the way it's configured. It's unique to the avalanche. It was unique to the avalanche at that time. And that was something that was pointed out by witnesses.
Stuck in the.
What? Well, the investigation is continuing, and I would never say never. And we're going to continue to look at, again, now this is a watershed event in this case. And so we've now are going out and we're executing more search warrants. We'll get more information, more data, and together we'll look at that and see where it leads. I'm sorry? Which so this investigation had to do with these 4 victims. So we've been in touch with the 4 victims through the grand jury process. With regard to victims in general and other victims, who lost people in the vicinity of that area, we speak to our victims all the time, but those are conversations that we keep between ourselves. So, so first off, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, the other 3, one went missing in 2009. I believe the others in 2010. She was in 2007. So it was a little bit more remote in time. We are working through evidence. A lot of that evidence has to do with forensic evidence and analyses that are not completed. But once those analyses are completed, we feel good about the case, and we're going to just continue to let that process go. And again, I think the initial plan was to allow the grand jury investigation to go a little further, but at a certain time, again, the task force felt, we need to, for reasons having nothing to do with the evidence in the case, we need to take it down.
Can you just sum up this defendant? You've seen a lot. Can you just sum up this defendant and what he is?
It's as a prosecutor and as investigators, he is charged with a crime. There are certain elements in which we need to prove that crime. We are going to prove those elements. We're going to work hard. We're going to convict him, and we're going to hold him responsible for what he did. And whether, what I think of him personally, whether I like him, whether I don't like him, doesn't matter. We are going to hold him responsible for what he did in this case. The grand jury is, it's secret. And we're going to keep it secret, but we have an investigation and it is continuing.
There was a belt that was presented publicly by the Suffolk County Police Department a few years ago with initials on it. I think one of the initials appears to be MH or WH or something along those lines. Obviously, this guy's got an H in his name.
Sure does.
Can you talk about that?
I mean, he has an H in his name. He is, so it's, what was it, HM? Or WH, yeah. So he's got an H in his name, and other relatives in his family have a W in their name. What that means, I don't know.
Can you talk about alleged why? Motive?
I think that when you look at his internet searches, I think that provides a little insight into his state of mind. And again, we don't have to prove motive. We have to prove the elements, and that's what we're going to do. Well, you said women. With regard to the sex workers, what we did was we had him under surveillance. We had other means of monitoring him, and again, it's a process, and that process is you have to balance the ability to find enough evidence to charge him and hold him responsible with the balance of keeping the public safe, and it's not easy. And we decided at a certain point in time that that we needed to take him down because we didn't feel comfortable with it. So that's what we did. I don't think it was so much. I don't think it was so much the searches. I think that the conduct of the defendant was very consistent. I think, but the quality of our evidence was increasing by the day, by the moment, due to the great work of our task force partners. So at a certain point in time, we're like, okay, we can do this. I believe the cause of death is homicidal violence. Obviously, given the length of time and the exposure to a very harsh environment, forensically, there was not, not a lot that could be done with the remains. Bing bang. Come to that conclusion. He has permits for 92 guns. He has a very large safe in which guns are kept. We are continuing to execute search warrants, so I'm sure we'll have that answer shortly. I'm sorry? I think there's always concerns. I think, I got into office in January 22. We worked with our partners. We had our first meeting February 1st, and we worked and March 14th was really that watershed day. And when I tell you, I'd like to brag and say that my office was really working hard, which we were, but no other agency was working any less hard than we were. Once we realized what we had and we realized the stakes, all of our partners really worked. I think if you look at the folks standing here, I don't think that, in the last 48 hours, any of us have gotten more than 3 hours sleep.
Running boring burn-on barns. How much more do you need to actually tie it into that?
We are going to continue our investigation, and when we are prepared, when we have concluded that investigation, we will, we'll bring that to a conclusion, but we will not do it before.
All right, thank you. You have one more?
Between all the search warrants and the subpoenas, will you ever think that you're gonna lose them? Reading between all the searching around and stuff?
And I don't want to tell you, exact investigative techniques because they're, again, part of the reasons why they're effective is because people don't necessarily know what it is exactly we do. But always a concern, but given the professionalism of our partners, their diligence and their commitment, we felt good about the case or keeping the case going until we didn't, and then we took it down. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
The press conference from the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office.
The press conference is over to that now. Shout out to that, though. Now, let me bring this back up. Where we at? Boom. All right. But yeah, that's cool, though, that they got him arrested for 3 murders and suspected in a 4th. So what about the rest? What about the rest of them, though? Shout out to that. No doubt. Studio is fire. Thank you, Kel. Appreciate you. This little thing you see right here is my mic. So if you see it like pushing out, that's actually my mic blocking that. But that was so informative. They did an amazing job. A lot of that is really going to play part into this Idaho case, and people don't really, they don't know that. And I know a lot of people are here for specifically the Idaho case, but I've been following that case for a minute. It was important to see that. But I'm wondering about the other victims. Did he have anything to do with the other victims? That's what I want to know. Definitely a great presser. Yeah, shout out. Jeff made that. Shout out to Jeff for making that, by the way. Great job, law enforcement. Right. What about the rest? Papa Sal, honestly, what about the rest? Because there's other victims. There was other victims that were dumped at Gilgo Beach. I mean, and that was right around the corner from where I was back in. So damn, that was 13 years ago. Yeah, almost. Well, actually 15. So yeah, it was right around the time all of it was going on, which is wild. But I do want to say another thing that I seen on Twitter, which there was some good points brought up by somebody that pertains to the Idaho case, right? And it was talking about Ann Taylor asking for anything and everything that doesn't exist. Like, even if it doesn't exist, she's asking for it. So, and this was a good point brought up by Scarlett, who actually comes into chat all the time. And she made beautiful points on it, and I thought it was wonderful. She said this. She said, Ann Taylor literally is asking for anything and everything, even if it doesn't exist. She asked the judge to compel for a lot of things that had already been given to her prior to her even filing her motion to compel, which I thought was very interesting also. So, like, her doing that, Ann Taylor doing that weird shit, I don't get it, but hold up, somebody just messaged me. Let me see who this is. Hold up, I'm not ignoring. Okay. Damn, 2 hours? 2 hours? Tell her to be safe. 2 hours. Check out this view. Damn, that's dope, Jeff. On a video shoot today, wondering if I have covered guitars for my band. Has it? I was with him Monday. Yeah, you definitely got covered. Shout out to Jeff. I hope you recover from that. Shooting 6K Black Magic camera. That's a dope cam. Hope you feel better, bro. Jeff said he was around his band member that had COVID. But yeah, I didn't see no docs. I seen docs from the 12th. I didn't see no docs. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. I was just looking at it. You said something about new docs. Right here. Let's see. Nah, 7/12/2023. That's the last of the docs that came out on Brian Koberger. Yep. The 12th. So we've seen those docs already. It's the state supplemental response to defendant's second supplemental request for discovery. Those were the last documents to come out on the 12th of July. So thank you. I appreciate you, Michelle. Now she said, where is the raccoon? She napping? Oh, you talk about CKI? Shout out to CKI. She probably is napping. When does she sleep? You know? That's absolutely true. She wants it all in chronological order. You said she wants it all in chronological order so that she doesn't even have to sift through thousands of pages to find what she wants. State gave it to her in the order they received it. Right. It's in that. It's in all the terabytes. Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like, why is she doing all this reaching in the case? So it's like in discovery, you ask for everything you can possibly think of as a result of your kitchen sink request. You may learn it doesn't exist. Like I said, shout out to King Scarlet News, who's always in chat and comes by and participates. She made a very good point on Twitter. Like I was like, damn, you actually nailed this. And I think about that shit a lot, but she put it in wording very good. So she was like, the fact it doesn't even exist may be relevant, or it may be a nothing burger. The fact that the defense asked for it does not mean it does exist. And that's what people need to understand. And people saying that Enan harsh. Now, where can somebody point out to me where she wants to create confusion? Right. Can someone point out to me where someone said Enan Harsh was being pushed into court? We're going to talk about that later. I think I might have a night live tonight, to be honest with you. I got a few things I need to do. I know my lady's on her way home right now. We got to run and do a few things. Hopefully DMV, well, DMV is open till 5:30. I got to go by DMV, take care of a few things. But I'm looking like being back on tonight is definitely an option for me. So I appreciate everybody who pulled up for this quick little live, which is 2.5 hours. I didn't answer the poll correctly. Take one away from the slap on the wrist. I forgot the selling part. Probably going to do an open panel later. So what should happen to someone selling a little boy's autopsy photos? Charged with a felony, slap on the hand. It was a mistake. Oh, you accidentally clicked it. So take away, it's like 8%. So 53% charged with a felony. Channel deleted from YouTube, 719 votes. 36%. And then 53% slap on the wrist is 10%. So again, 53% is charged with a felony. 10% is slap on the hand. It was a mistake. And channel deleted from YouTube forever, 36%. But yeah, I'm about to dip out of here. I gotta go take care of a few things, like I said. But I had to hop on here real quick. I wasn't live yesterday on here. I was live on the second channel. If you want to go check that out, go check it out. ! Second channel. And I'll definitely be back. But yeah, there's no new docs in this case whatsoever. I'm looking at 712. Still nothing updated on the doc list. And I'll bring it up just to show you I'm not BSing you. Right here, doc list. Let me make it bigger so everybody can see. Hold up, where am I at right now? We're on the wrong case. I see a change of venue. That must be Valo. Yeah, it was Valo. It is right about. Take it up a notch. Right here. There it is. I see it. I see you. Right there. So yeah, this is the last documents dropped in the Idaho case. This one right here. 7/12/2023. If you want to get the docs, just make sure you hit ! Idaho docs in chat. ! All lowercase Idaho docs, and you can get that. They see me scrolling. But yeah, no doubt. I'll be back probably, like I said, later. Night stream. So if you're going to be there tonight, I'll holler at you. I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for everybody who pulled up. We were able to catch that presser. That was dope. And we'll definitely, if you want to be in the open panel, which I'm going to do an open panel. Next time you see me, it will be an open panel. So make sure you email me if you want to be part of that open panel. I'll holler at y'all. Bing bong. Hold on. You said let's jam. All right, I'll put this on real quick. My bad.
I count my blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
It wouldn't be the same with none of y'all by my side. You hold me down every day and it makes me strive. I wake up and look forward to doing these lives. A lot of y'all really came and opened up my eyes, and I hope I gave it back because it comes with yours. No matter what they say, I know I opened up them doors. I brought a family together even though shit was rough. They tried to shut us down, but we really shut them up. No matter what, we stand together when shit gets tough. I wanna thank everyone for showing me love. The Rev Gang family is something I cherish and love, and I'll smack anyone for fucking with us.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
No one bigger voice to the voiceless. People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss is something that we find important. Rap gang strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will let up. All my life life. I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have it back. So I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps. Your loyalty means a lot to me, so this is a special thank you from me.